is a special edition of WeatherScope, comprehensive severe weather coverage from the Weather Channel.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Jill Brown here in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. We have a bit of a snowstorm in the west, which Declan's going to tell you about in a few minutes. We still have Hurricane Lily just moving out of the Bahamas. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first off, we want to start off with another nor'easter in the northeast, which is probably going to put a damper on the World Series plans for this evening. I haven't heard officially that the game has been canceled, but I think you can pretty much count on that. You can see the rain here. When you get an area of low pressure like this along the coast, you start getting those winds coming in toward the shore on the north side. Very heavy rain, coastal flooding, strong wind gusts can be expected. On the south side, it's an offshore wind, so actually not a bad day as you get down into Virginia. The sun is shining, maybe a little blustery and cool, but nothing compared to what it's like once you get up to about Philadelphia, and the rain stretches up to about Hartford and all the way back to Cleveland. What an ugly day we do have out there. You can see this huge plume of moisture coming in from the Atlantic, and the heaviest rain is where you're going to see the dark green there and the yellows. And you can see that whole band is slowly inching farther and farther to the north. So places like Hartford and eventually Boston, you should be seeing the rain as well. We're going a little bit closer. You can see very heavy rain over New Jersey. We've had reports now that Route 46 in Lodi is flooded and has been closed already. About 2 to 3 inches of rain since about 8 o'clock this morning. And here on eastern Long Island, we've had reports of wind gusts about 45 miles per hour. But you will notice one good thing there is the rain is not so heavy. And that is where Mike Seidel has been standing by. Mike, you're in luck. You are just a little bit outside of the heavy rain band, but that may be changing. How are conditions right now?
Well, Jill, you know, it's just another day here at the beach for me. It's really not that bad. Once the rain stops, it makes it all the difference in the world. We're still getting wind gusts, as you noted, 35 to 40 miles an hour. The rain is holding off to our west here. We're at the state park here, the Sunken Meadows State Park on the North Shore. And this is a favorite public beach in the summertime today. Pretty desolate. There have been a lot of people out here, though, power walking and exercising in between the showers. Now, as you look out over the surf, you'll see across Smithtown Bay some very, very rough seas. Surf breaking at about 2 to 3 feet. Remember, this water is breaking farther out, so we're not getting the waves breaking right on shore at once. You can see all the white caps. And we expect tides to be running 3 to 5 feet above normal. There's going to be a fair amount of beach erosion. Remember, an east and northeast wind, especially a northeast wind, is an eroding wind. And the trees are getting whipped by these high winds of 40 to 45 miles an hour, and these leaves are getting stripped off the trees. So be careful driving this afternoon, especially on the secondary roads and through the neighborhoods, because the combination of standing water, more heavy rain coming into the tri-state area, and leaves make the roadways very, very slick. And as you mentioned about baseball tonight, it looks pretty iffy. I mentioned earlier the Mets needed a miracle to win in '69, and I think the Yankees are going to need a miracle tonight, Jill, to play this game against the Braves over in the Bronx, since it's raining there right now.
That's a good point, Mike. How about the airports? Have you heard about any delays at this point?
We're getting reports of just sporadic delays at the 3 major airports, Kennedy, LaGuardia, and Newark over in Jersey. Best idea is to check ahead to your airline if you're flying out, or if you've got friends or family coming in, to check ahead to see if their flight's been delayed. But as the winds increase through the afternoon and this evening, we think the worst winds will be after dinner time tonight. There'll likely be more delays. So make sure you check ahead so you can spend the time at home instead of on the way to the airport. And once again, be careful of the roadways. There are numerous traffic accidents in the area today, so far this morning, and we've heard of several accidents where cars have rolled over, and that is obviously because of the very slick highways in the area.
All right, Mike, that's good advice. We'll check back with you again in a half hour. In the meantime,
Jill,
we want to show you where the warnings are in effect at this time. As Mike had mentioned, winds are gusting to 30, 40 miles per hour. We do have gale warnings in effect for much of the coastline from Virginia Beach all the way up to Merrimack River in Massachusetts. And where you see the red, storm warning, so winds over 55 miles per hour can be expected. And again, an east to northeast wind will mean coastal flooding. Warnings are in effect for north-facing shores of Long Island and parts of New Jersey as well. And our forecast does not look good. We are expecting to see this storm hanging around through the finish of the weekend, and at this point, best bet for maybe a little bit of dry weather. I won't go as far as to say sunny weather, but drier weather. Best bet may be Monday. So we'll keep that in mind when we check on the conditions for the game. Doesn't look great. So much for our northeast storm. Let's talk about Lily. Hurricane Lily is still out there. As a matter of fact, this is a strengthening hurricane now that it is moving away from the Bahamas. Let me show you the satellite picture here. First off, a broad satellite picture which will show us both storms, our northeastern storm and our hurricane. And you'll notice that they almost seem to be connected right through here. The big question at this point for folks in the Northeast will be, will we get some of the moisture from Lily to be entrained all the way into this area of low pressure and increase the rain? That would be a very bad option. Our best bet is if this storm continues on the track that it is expected off to the northeast or east-northeast. If it goes south of Bermuda, there's a better chance that we won't get that extra moisture. And that is what's in the forecast right now, so that's some good news. Here are the stats as of 11 o'clock on Lily. The winds now are 115 miles per hour, and it is moving fast, east-northeast at 25 miles per hour. We still do have warnings in effect in the Bahamas. We are just beginning to see reports come in about damage in the Bahamas, a lot of wind and storm surge damage, and we'll update you on that as we get more information. The winds should be calming down, the storm surge calming down at this point, and as we get the 2 o'clock update from the Hurricane Center, I suspect that we'll see a lot of the watches and warnings canceled for the Bahamas. So things should be improving very quickly there. Again, big question mark for folks in Bermuda as to what effects they may get from this. The current forecast takes this on a track well south of Bermuda by Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. So we'll continue to hope that that stays the forecast, and we'll keep you up to date. Again, we'll get another update from the Hurricane Center as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. In the meantime, we want to take you back to the studio. Declan has the latest info on your forecast for the rest of the weekend, including some snow in the west.
That's right. The Pacific Northwest is getting blasted, especially some of the higher terrain, with what's been some very heavy wet snow in the last several days. The Cascades in Washington are covered by as much as a foot of snow today. Interstate 90 at Snoqualmie Pass reopened Friday afternoon after being closed several hours Thursday night. Expect more road problems today as the snow continues to fall. And you want to hear something interesting? We've had reports from some elk hunters up at the 8,000-foot level in the South Cascades of Oregon that as much as 2.5 feet of snow is on the ground from recent storms during the last 2 weeks or so. So we've had very cool, moist weather systems coming back into the Pacific Northwest, and for all practical purposes, this particular system and the one just preceding it not too long ago, they're more like winter systems in the terms of the amount of cold air that they brought with them. And we still have numerous showers today, some locally heavy snow. The winter storm warning has been dropped for the North Cascades of Oregon, but we've had reports of quite a bit of snow, even around Government Camp. We've had reports of snow at some pretty low elevations from this particular storm. There's your front from Southern California. It stretches all the way up into the northwest corner of North Dakota. That front's on the move during the next 24 hours. In fact, our forecast brings the front into the plains tomorrow. More snow, and the snow will start picking up as we head into the mountains in Colorado and Wyoming. Tomorrow afternoon, low pressure over northwest Iowa, and of course we still have our monster storm along the mid-Atlantic coast. One of the big problems with this particular storm is the fact that it doesn't appear that it's going to have much of a chance to move out here too quickly. It's being blocked by that big high in eastern Canada. And it's that pressure difference between the intensifying storm and the strong high in Canada that'll give us some very strong winds. If you live in Boston, it looks like, at least right now, that as we get into Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, those winds will really start howling in off the ocean. Locally, 5 inches or more rain. Last night, 4 to 5 inches fell in parts of eastern Pennsylvania. This system has already shown its ability to produce excessive rainfall, and this trend should continue as the storm gets even stronger today and tonight, and then continues that slow northeasterly drift. Increasing rain and mountain snow. We mentioned the snow coming into Colorado. The snow will probably get quite heavy in the northernmost Wasatch in the next 18 hours. And your highs tomorrow, well, we think we'll see some 70s, maybe some 80s in south central Oklahoma. And look what happens Monday. The bottom falls out literally here. We have 30s and 40s in a wide area across the Rockies into the plains. That cold air mass will be sweeping through Chicago about midweek. Beyond that, we're hoping it'll then modify quite a bit, so we'll get back into the 50s and 60s after cooler 30s and 40s. Get my big head out of the way so folks in Maine can see. Rain in your forecast. In fact, if you live in Maine, it's a wet forecast through Tuesday. The showers and storms skirting through the southeast. Rain and snow showers into the upper Midwest. The idea is that the next system comes in, it leaves behind some low-level moisture, and just enough cold air comes in behind it. So we have this shield of snow on the map in the lakes on Wednesday, and then Thursday, more rain and snow. Ah, yes, it's getting to be that time of the year. onshore flow. There's very little chance for the water actually to start flowing back at the time of low tide. So you're always shoving the water up against the coastal bays and the inlets, and that's going to, at least over the next several high tide cycles, give us more and more trouble. Heavy rain, though, the big concern right now with flooding reported several locations.